I like simple. I believe simple scales and complexity fails. This AI can get very complex very quickly, but there's also some real simple and effective strategies that I found for real estate agents that I'm going to be sharing with you today. So I want to tell you guys about this, like when AI became real for me. And it was just like recently we were at an event with the top attractors and top producers at EXP, and Glenn Sanford was there, and obviously a very smart guy, creator of EXP and this model that's revolutionized the real estate game. But there was a different kind of tone and presence about him when it came to AI. And I heard through the grapevine, in talking to one of the leaders at EXP, that Glenn actually got all the leaders together. He was in a meeting with them, and he basically said, in so many words, like, if you guys don't get into AI and get on the forefront of AI, you will not be working for me in 12 months. So it's like that serious. And when he shared with us about the future of real estate and his belief that if you're starting brand new today as an agent, but you wholeheartedly embrace AI, that you're going to take out the top producer of today that doesn't embrace AI. I was like, oh, I got to pay more attention to this than I was. Because I'm like the 40-year-old guy, right, that just was using AI as like a new Google search tool. But it's so much more than that. And I want to share some things with you today that I hope will be helpful. And I want to help you emphasize this opportunity and this timing of right now. Because I really think that, if we get in right now, it's a ground floor opportunity, and that those early adopters are going to have the edge. So AI is going to be very much threaded through our industry, especially through content creation, through lead follow-up. I mean, we've seen automation in the best CRMs and platforms out there for years. But now it's going to go to a whole new level. And what I love about it is that you get to decide how you're going to utilize the AI, meaning we don't have to rely on a platform that's going to do automation for us, but literally the thoughts are the sky is the limit, right? So like whatever we can think about, we can bring about with this new technology. So I think we'll be able to use it to outperform our competitors who wait, who stand on the sidelines. There's going to be a growing gap between agents who use AI and those who don't, and it's going to become obvious who the players are. It's also going to save you time so that you can focus on, what is it that matters most, and what do you enjoy doing most about this business? AI can handle those repetitive, time-consuming tasks like writing listing descriptions, scheduling follow-ups, generating marketing content. That's going to give you more time for your appointments and your negotiations and your relationship building. When I think of like the top agents, so like my mind just instantly goes to, a few agents that I know very personally that are just crushers. When I think about those people, and you think about who comes to top of mind for you as well, like, when you think about somebody who's just crushing it in real estate, like who comes to mind? And I know for me, when I think of those people, they're incredible at relationship building. They are people that, when you put them in front of people, like those people love them, they love those people. And like if we can get and I think this is to a large extent what EXP has done. It's like EXP came in and they became a platform for us. So they became the platform so that we could spend less of our time doing brokerage related stuff and more of our time doing, relationship building, sales and marketing and things like that. And this is going to help us go even deeper and further in that. So the concept is AI doesn't replace you, but it replaces a lot of the busy work and time consuming work that we have to do for this business, and allows us to spend more of our time in our money making activity, which I think is a great thing. And the tools are becoming easier and more accessible than ever. You don't have to be super tech savvy. One of the things that Glenn Sanford shared with us from stage was this ability using a piece of technology called Lovable to build out a website, like literally build a website, full front end capability. So all the visual things that you would expect in a website, but also back end, login, back end functionality into that website. And we were able to build that in 10 minutes, guys. And what was interesting is the person that was on stage kind of doing this demo is somebody that's worked for EXP for years and helped EXP develop technology by writing code to create this technology. And he said, guys, what we just created in 10 minutes would have required just a couple years ago you to hire somebody at a going rate of about $150,000 a year who was up to speed and knew how to write that code in order to create the website that we just created within 10 minutes. And then he showed us on the back end all the code that was written into that. That was like a total mind blown moment for me. And really, guys, there's like nothing that we can't do right now if we'll just get creative and start to adapt. And my main the result that I would love to happen from this time that we spend today is that you will begin to dive in, start small, and then really start to integrate these things into your business so that you can have those kind of results for you too. Waiting until you have time to learn it is like waiting to get in shape before going to the gym. You've got to start small and you've got to start now. So over the next 30 minutes, I'm going to cover buyer AI strategy, seller, SOI, operational, marketing, implementation, and look at some strategic questions that you should be asking yourself. I'm also, for those of you to stick around with me, I'm going to give you a special free gift at the end. So we got a lot to cover, so let me move into this. Please note that you're not going to have to take screen clips of anything I share with you. I'm going to share the entire recording and I'm going to share the entire slides so that you can go into the slides and copy and paste because I'm going to be sharing a lot of prompts with you. So let's start by looking at working with buyers. So I'm going to go over 3 AI strategies tailored to working with buyers. Each strategy includes a practical prompt that you can begin to use today, and it will allow you to serve your clients more efficiently and deliver outstanding customer service. So the first one is a personalized property match generator. So the strategy is, hey, we can use AI to create a highly tailored list of properties based on your buyer's lifestyle, priorities, and preferences, not just these generic MLS filters. So let's just look at the prompt, right? It says, act as a real estate consultant helping a family of 4 relocating to Bozeman, Montana. Their budget is $850, and they prioritize proximity to top-rated schools, a walkable neighborhood, and at least 3 bedrooms. They want a yard for kids and a home office. Use current MLS-style listings or simulate them and return 5 ideal matches with a quick justification for each. So this is going to allow you to deliver curated content, emotionally relevant results that make buyers feel understood and saves them from overwhelming search fatigue. So, real world scenario. I have a client that is very into nature photography and hiking. And around the greater Bozeman area, we have all these different public lands that are available, whether it's national forest land, BLM land, national parks. Like there's just a lot of different land organizations and types that provide free public access. However, there's no way for me to search that in MLS. So by understanding who your buyer is and what's important to them, and then using a prompt like this to fill in the things that are important to them, it can go through and search for you and find things that would take you hours to search through MLS for, and also give you the reasoning behind that so that when you send it to your client, you have that reasoning. You can say, hey, I sent you this because I thought this might be of interest to you because of these reasons. So this is just taking a lot of time sensitive work and compressing the time for you. Buyer educational content machine. So this strategy would generate customized educational content to empower your buyers, making you the trusted advisor in a shifting market. So write a short, friendly explainer email for a first-time home buyer in Montana who's confused about appraisal gaps. Use plain English examples and explain how they can protect themselves in a competitive offer situation. So this just reduces confusion, increases buyer confidence. But imagine that you're putting this type of content out. And the way I'm looking at AI personally right now is if I have to do something for one client, it might just very well be beneficial to other people as well. So it's kind of like the old schoolroom adage, like, hey, don't be afraid to ask your question because somebody else probably has it too. But if we can use AI to generate a response to their question in such a way that it becomes an additional piece of content for us, and we can video that content. And by the way, AI will create the entire video script for you. So let's say that you put this prompt in and it gives you some results. You could then prompt it again to say, okay, create a video script for me. And then you could use a tool like Big View on your cell phone, and you could literally have those words come across your screen, and you could video yourself reading those, and they will not even know that you're reading off of a prompt. It's that good, and your eyes are right there on your phone anyway. So these are just different ideas for you to take away. This one I love. This is a tour recap and decision clarity assistant. So, let's just say that we went out and we looked at 3 different homes. These are the 3 different homes. You would put those into the prompt along with, some of the comments that they had made that they liked or didn't like about the property. And then you would get a thorough, well-written response. And just imagine that you're out showing property with your clients. You look at these 3 properties. Like, what do you typically do at the end of that? You guys might talk about it. You might not. You go back home, you might send an email, hey, it was great meeting with you, or not. But what if at the end of the showing, at the end of the day, they got a detailed synopsis of everything that you looked at, what the, pros and cons were in their own words, all synthesized for them? Wouldn't that add value? Wouldn't that add credibility to you as a professional agent? Wouldn't that be a more than likely highly differentiated experience than probably anybody else they worked with in the past? I think so. And I think these are ways where we're utilizing AI to stand out and highlight our expertise in a way that's readily available to all of us and takes very little time or effort. I used to be adamant about people following my process when I worked with them as a buyer. And I would watch my counterparts in my office. They might be like, they got a high value buyer coming in and they're like, man, I don't want to give the buyer a presentation. Like, that feels elementary. Like they're an expensive luxury buyer. I'm embarrassed to do that. But I would do it every time. And what I found out is the people that they were scared to do that with were most often the people that most appreciated it. They were like, you know what, John, thank you so much for taking me through that. It's been, 10 years since I bought a house, and, nobody's ever done that for me. It says a lot about your professionalism, and we're excited to work with you. Like, I would routinely get those comments. And I think this is a way for us to do that in a way that's unique, and we just don't take the time to do it. So I'm excited about that. Now, when it comes to working with sellers, I've got 4 strategies I want to show you. The first one is going to be a little bit in depth, but I really want you to grasp this because it's super powerful. So within ChatGPT, under the search bar is something called deep research. And you can use deep research to do just what it says, deep research, and analyze competitive listings, analyze your competitors. And this is really cool. So you got 3 listings in a neighborhood. So you're going to ask it, what's missing from the marketing and what can I do to outperform these agents when I market my listings? So these are the 3 that I used for a neighborhood in here. I'm actually going to show you what the results were. Now, the deep research is very interesting because it actually takes quite a bit of time to come up with these results. So it took, I think, 5 minutes. And this is the deep research based on those 3 Zillow listings that I popped in. And you could obviously, take listings from your public link from MLS or wherever have you. But I did a listing comparison on a community called Flanders Mill in Bozeman, and it went super deep, guys. So things like gaps in the competitor's marketing. So like, I know going into this potential listing appointment, like, hey, the competition isn't really doing this, that, or the other thing. There's no floor plans on these properties. There's a lack of virtual staging if they're vacant. There's poor descriptions. Like, all of these things would be very important to a seller. And you highlighting like some of these opportunities to put their house kind of above the competition, I think is going to be a very value added type of presentation than maybe just your normal listing presentation. Why is it value add? Because it's targeted and specific. So a lot of times we go to a listing presentation and we're very general in our approach because we have one presentation that we use for every property. Here's an opportunity now for us to take our presentation and go targeted and deep and specific. And there's so many things you can do using deep research. You can put in the target property and you can actually say, based on the characteristics of this property, who would be an ideal buyer in this area. And it's going to take into consideration everything about your area, average price points, companies. You can upload into the deep research, all the latest documents that your Chamber of Commerce has, which will take into consideration, macroeconomics. It'll take into consideration employers and people like major employers of the area and people that are moving to the area. And now all of a sudden, instead of going to your seller like most agents do and saying, hey, we're going to be looking for a needle in a haystack, you could say, what if I could bring an entire haystack of needles to you? And instead of putting our effort across all of these people where we're looking for a needle in a haystack, I could put my effort targeted on the people that are going to be most likely a buyer for your home. So it just becomes much more effective. This is a very in-depth report, and that's why I wanted to share it with you and just show you the kind of research. But all you have to do to get that is, just like I said, go to deep research, put in this prompt, and it's going to give you that. Then you can take that entire deep research paper. I think mine was 11 pages long, and you can prompt it then to say, now turn this deep research paper into a brochure. And now you've got a leave behind, if you so choose, for that seller when you meet with them, which I would like. I always like to have tangible leave behinds. So just some ideas for you there. Obviously, listing digital description optimizer. How many of you are, by show of hands, using using AI to create your listing descriptions now? Awesome. So this is kind of like a basic one, right? I just listed a place that I own for rent, and I did all the stuff I'm talking about, guys. I did the, who's an ideal demographic, and it's like sometimes the order matters in how you use AI. So first, I have a customized GPT for me as a real estate professional. So it has a ton of content on me already, so it speaks in my voice. I had all the information on the property. I asked it who the target buyer would be. Then I asked it to create a description based on that target buyer. Now, I'm not saying like, I'm just adopting the stuff and learning with you guys, right? I'm not saying I'm an expert at this, but I'll tell you what the results were. So Bozeman is going through an inventory crisis right now for rentals. Dave Broom, who may be on this call, his wife is a property manager. She's been a high-end, high-level property manager for over a decade now. He told me just the other day, she's never in her career seen as much rental inventory in Bozeman as she's seeing right now. Well, I did this. I uploaded it to my listing. I actually put a price on my rental listing that was higher than anyone had ever rented in my complex. It targeted a young family in the area. They came out and looked at it yesterday. They were my first and only showing, and they rented the place, no questions asked, 24-month lease. So I think this stuff really works, guys. And, if you're using this already for listing description, like there's probably 10 ways that you can plus it up. So like if you're just going in and saying, hey, create a description on this property, ask ChatGPT or whatever you use, say, hey, what would I need to ask you in order to get the best listing description? Like play around with it, ask it questions. It'll tell you what to do, and it'll tell you how to create better prompts for this. Seller report and communication enhancer. So, one of the things that I know as a top listing agent, like we struggle with is like this communication with our client, and like we feel like a broken record sometimes. But we can have AI create activity feedback, marketing stats, and professional weekly updates for our sellers. And we can create our own GPT as a top listing agent in our market and continuously feed it with market reports, whether they're from KCM or what have you. And then we can have that data going in, and then we can ask it to give our sellers weekly updates. And then we can continue to feed it through that same chat GPT, which has all the previous communication. And we can say, make each communication sound unique and different and be value added for my seller. This is going to keep them informed. It's going to keep them reassured that they picked the right person for the job. It's going to help you get those price reductions. And you're going to be providing very thorough, very robust, detailed communication with your seller that's going to put them at ease. Because when sellers get upset, it's typically because they're not hearing anything from us, or if they are hearing something from us, they're hearing this vague vanilla kind of response, and it's not giving them confidence. It's actually eroding the confidence that they have in you. But if you give them pinpointed, detailed summation of data and actual facts, it's going to help them, say, okay, this person's doing a ton of work for me. They're giving me all the data. I've got to reduce my price, or I've got to make a change here in how I'm offering this listing if I want to get it sold. And then listing appointment prep and CMA differentiator. So using AI to generate personalized pre-listing materials, talking points, follow-up emails, or CMA to help you win the listing. This is obviously like really good. Like, you want to go informed, you want to have the best position as a professional, and really create content that's going to speak to and work with your sellers. I'll give you an excellent example of somebody, Nathan Abbott, one of our agents here at Game Changers. He was struggling with getting a price reduction on a listing, and he knew it needed a price reduction, but the seller was reluctant to do a price reduction. And Nathan started playing around with AI and saying, here's my situation, here's what I'm up against, here's how I'm struggling. And AI actually told him, you should take this specific approach, which is not the approach that he would have naturally taken with the person. And Nathan said, okay, I'll give it a try. Followed the approach that AI told him to take, and the client immediately bended to the will, reduced the price of the property, and Nathan got it under contract. And he shared that with me, and I was blown away. I was like, whoa, that's so crazy, man. But this is the power of these tools that are at our fingertips. Now, I want to kind of change gears for a minute and talk to you about sphere of influence and past clients. And let's just look at 3 specific simple ways that you can use AI to power up your follow-up campaigns for your past clients. These are very practical. I think you'll get value from it. But like, how about thoughtful, personalized check-in messages? So we're using AI here to craft casual, friendly follow-up messages that sound natural, not salesy, based on your relationship history. So write a short, warm message to a past client named Sarah who bought a home for me 2 years ago in Bozeman. She has 2 kids and a golden retriever. Make it feel personal and friendly with no sales pitch. Just a check-in that shows I remember her. Dude, these are magic, guys. This is going to enhance your human side of you. And it's really you. Like, you're asking it, you're feeding it the information, but you've now got a tool that takes all the time of thinking about that and coming up with that and all the things that really stop you from doing it, even if it's on your heart or your mind, and it's going to allow you to do it like that. And I'm just excited. Like, I think about what made us good realtors in the past was that we cared about our people and we did a heck of a good job of serving them. But it was super challenging as your database grew to be able to provide that same consistent type of service. What you could do for 50 becomes a lot harder at 500. Guys, this is going to allow you to serve people at the highest level, make them feel like the special clients that they are, just by using tools that are going to help you compress the creativity time and the effort that you would need to create these. AI generated monthly or quarterly email content. Create valuable email content for past clients that actually want to read local tips, home maintenance reminders, real estate market updates. Write a friendly quarterly email for my past clients in Spare. I'm a real estate agent in Bozeman, Montana. Include a seasonal home maintenance tip, a brief local real estate market update, and a fun upcoming local event. This is awesome. It's going to go out and search for all these things and help you put it together. You'll get to see if it's in line, and you can feed it more information about your interest and the type of person you are to make it resonate with your authentic voice. Create social media content for SOI engagement. Create a casual and fun Facebook post for my personal profile that lightly reminds my friends that I'm in real estate. Mention something cool about Bozeman housing market and ask a question and invites people to comment. Would you ever move in the right opportunity came up? And guys, This is going to take into consideration all of the best practice and hooks and everything about social media. And it's going to allow you to engage organically, reinforce your real estate brand, and generate more inbound referrals and DMs. I would argue, like, this is just my personal opinion, but I would argue that if you're doing anything like this and not using AI, you're doing yourself a disservice, because there's no way that you're going to be able to take into consideration all of the different, things to remember and best practices and what's trending now and all of that. But AI does. AI can consume all that information and keep it at the forefront. When it comes to operation and marketing, one of the areas that I know a lot of us, people that are salespeople, our relationship people, or people, we struggle with operations and marketing. And as a real estate coach and having helped a lot of people in their business, most of the people that I just gravitate towards, and because they're people like me, like the operations and marketing is like their biggest challenging point. They're just like, man, I don't like that stuff. It's overwhelming to me. AI is an equal playing field now. Use AI to create automated calendar for your marketing consistency. I want to create a 30-day content calendar, and I want to be able to post ideas, or I'm going away on vacation. I'm going to be away for the next 2 weeks, but I don't want to not post for 2 weeks. You could create a campaign for 2 weeks, and you could schedule all those posts to go out like you haven't missed a beat. Standard operating procedure. So, feeding it a bunch of parts and pieces of something that we do, right? So we all have like these ad hoc systems. Well, what if we could just say, here's what I do, and we could speak into it? You can literally just record yourself talking. Hey, this is what I do every time on a listing. And then you could create a standard operating procedure, not so that you have that to set a standard for your company, for the other agents that you recruit, or just to have it documented for yourself so that if there's ever a point where you're incapacitated or can't do it, somebody else can step in. It creates more value to what you're building, to your database that you're serving. So just a lot of cool things here. You can also do lead segmentation and follow-up campaign builder. So create 3 follow-up email and text campaigns for buyers and sellers segmented by warm, cold, and hot. Include tone and messaging that matches each lead type. Keep each sequence simple, conversational, and value-driven. No hard sells. This will be used in an automated CRM system. I literally did this at our local weekly meeting in Bozeman last week. We were talking about leads and we were talking about lead follow-up. And I said, yeah, when we were running our business, we had a 7-day lead sequence for new leads to get in touch with them. It was like our 7-day, contact campaign. And we would call, text, and email every day for 7 days. Well, that was just like normal to me. And for those of you that have been around the business for a while, you've probably had something like that too. But as I was talking to this group of realtors, some of them were new, they just couldn't even fathom that I would like call, text, and email somebody for 7 days in a row. It was like bizarre to them. And then after I helped them understand the concept and the importance of it, and we have to be able to make contact with these people to be able to disposition them as warm, cold, or hot, to really find out if they're looking for help, if we need to help them, if we can help them. And once they understood that, they were like, well, can you share that campaign with me? And I was like, better yet, let's just create one right now. Because I wanted to show them the power of these AI tools. So I put in a ChatGPT, a prompt very similar to this. I said, create a 7-day email, call, text campaign for new leads to get in contact with them. Give me times based on the MIT lead response study of when I should try to get in touch, because timing is really important to these two, so that we're trying them at different times throughout that 7-day campaign. And I said, use humor so that the longer I go without getting in touch with them, the more humor that you impose, so that it doesn't feel like a broken record, so that on day 7, hey, just seeing if you're ghosting me or if I can help you, that it created that kind of humorous vibe to encourage them like to reach out to me and respond to me like as a real human. Guys, it created it like that, and it was good. I would argue that it was better than the one I'd been using 10 years ago. So these are just real life examples and cool ways to do it. So as we start to kind of put a bow on this presentation and land the plane, all of this AI stuff sounds great and it's cool, but there seems to be so much coming out of us, and I've had conversations with you guys, and it can just feel overwhelming, right? But like, what if we could just implement a plan for real estate agents and we could start small, we could stay consistent, we could just stack our wins. I always tell people, like, we've just got to stack good decisions. Whatever you're trying to do, you're trying to be a top real estate agent, you're trying to get in shape, you're trying to have a better marriage, you've just got to start to stack consistent small wins. And over time, you will have tremendous victory in that area of your life. And AI is no different. So the key reminder is we don't need to use AI for everything, but like as we get into these 5 questions that I want to go over with you, we just need to be able to use AI consistently for the right things. So step 1, pick one use case to start with. Choose something that's going to be an easy win, something that you already do weekly, but you don't really enjoy or that takes up your time. Could be writing listing descriptions. It could be creating a social media post, drafting follow-up emails. This week, I will use AI to help me with this one thing. And again, you're going to get all these slides, and I just encourage you to go back and use these parts right here like a workbook. And then step 2, master one prompt at a time. Don't try to learn everything, just practice one strong prompt related to your case. So an example might be write a friendly follow-up email to a buyer lead who toured 2 homes yesterday. Include a quick summary of both and ask how they're feeling about next steps. Like I said, I love this tour recap. I think this is awesome. So this would be one that I would suggest that you guys use. And then as you start to build your list of prompts, you can save them in a Google Doc. Like, hey, here's prompts that I use with my buyers. Here's prompts that I use with my sellers. Here's prompts that I use for operations. And you can make them better over time. You can even take your prompts and put them in the ChatGPT and say, make this prompt better and see what the result is and see if you think it is better. Set a weekly AI habit. Build a simple rhythm. Like Monday, you're going to ask for 3 content ideas. Wednesday, you're going to use it to write a property description or a recap email. And Friday, you're going to create a touch point for your Spear and past clients. Hey, AI, create an amazing end of day Friday email for me to all my past clients. I want this email to fire them up for the weekend. I want the last thing that they think about before they go to their parties and their barbecues and their kids' soccer games to be like, hey, my realtor, John, he's always adding value. Give them a couple nuggets that if anybody starts talking about the real estate market, they got a one-liner that they can go to that's a summary of where the market is right now. And give them the average interest rate too, because somebody's going to be talking about high interest rates. Give them something to talk about there too. You send that every Friday, guess what, guys? You are going to be the top of mind of everybody in your sphere of influence and past client. When they think of real estate, they're going to think of you because you're the one that's giving them their voice around the subject of real estate. And make no mistake about it, people are always talking about real estate. And then systemize one task. What's one thing that you can create a system out of that's an ad hoc system right now? Maybe it's your listing checklist. It's a new lead intake workflow. Maybe you want to have a new buyer process that you take people through. But as you start to turn your business into a collection of systems, it starts to become less chaotic and it starts to become maybe more robotic, but in a good way where you can focus all of your time and attention on your clients at hand. See, when you're constantly thinking about what you have to do, you're not really present with who you're in front of. So this is going to help you be a better realtor. And then review and repeat it monthly. All right, so I got to keep moving here. Questions to consider as we move. These questions are things that you should be asking yourself right now, like, what tasks do I repeat weekly that could be automated or outsourced to AI? Think about email responses. For those of you that don't know, EXP has given us an amazing tool called Fixer. And anybody who caps, they get the tool free for a year. Glenn is so bullish on this tool Fixer that we are a major investor in the company. He thinks it's one of the greatest AI tools that's practical for real estate agents that he's ever seen, which is why he made it free to all of us, because he wants to help us do more, be better professionals. So Fixer is like crafting email responses. And I've heard amazing success stories with people that have used it. Literally, like Fixer is responding to leads and getting business for people right out of the gate. So check that out if you haven't. How can I use AI to consistently market myself without feeling overwhelmed or inconsistent? What if I had a marketing assistant available 24/7 that never gets tired? That's literally what you have with AI. Where do my clients experience confusion or friction, and how can I use AI to create a better experience? You should be going out into the marketplace right now, whether you're at realtor events, whether you're talking to clients, whether you're listening to clients, speak online. Where are those friction points? And then take those friction points back to AI to create content, helpful guides, FAQs, and then put that content out there so that you can get noticed as being somebody who's adding value. What systems in my business are in my head but should be documented or automated? That's a really good one, guys. A lot of agents are sticky note agents, like everything's on a sticky note or it's in their head. It's not really turned into a system or a document that they can point to. I used to recruit agents with the most expensive cap and split structure simply because I could document all of the things that we were going to do and show them the exact processes that I had. And they would go, to all the other people that were less expensive, and they would sit there and the person would talk to them. Oh, it's going to be great to work here. It's going to be way cheaper than working for John, but they couldn't show them anything. And what would ultimately happen is they'd come back to me and say, man, I wanted to like this place better because it was cheaper, but they just couldn't show me the path to success. You have everything so well documented that I just feel more confident in this structure. And you can do the same thing in your business too for your clients. And then how can I use AI to scale my business without sacrificing service and quality? This is a phenomenal question. Like if I wanted to double my client load this year, what would need to be automated or delegated? Allow it to speak to you and give you ideas and help you. Because have you ever heard the saying, like, if you already knew, you wouldn't be where you are? Like the thinking that got you there isn't going to get you out of there. Like let AI be this additional brain power that you can harness at any time to take your business to the next level. And I love this saying by Phil Stringer, who's like a AI guru. AI is to your time what compound interest is to your money. Like really think about that. Like that's a powerful statement that I agree with wholeheartedly. We can all make money, but if we don't invest the money, we're robbing ourselves of the greatest opportunity. We can all keep doing our business, but if we don't harness AI, we're robbing ourselves of the greatest opportunity in this career for ourselves. So I believe there's only two possible outcomes moving forward. You're going to become wildly more productive and profitable, or you're going to slowly start to become painfully irrelevant. And it all depends on what you decide to do with AI. So, final takeaways: AI amplifies your leverage. AI increases your ability to add value, which I believe I've demonstrated here today. And AI helps you demonstrate kindness. Going back to that example of meaningful touches and with your sphere of influence, and like, what about, so and so who bought a house from me 2 years ago and they have two kids and a golden retriever? Like, send a message to them that's specific to all that. It helps you demonstrate kindness. So in closing and demonstrating my own kindness, I have something for you. As I was putting this presentation together, well, first of all, has this been helpful for you guys? Anybody, has this been helpful for you? Did you learn anything today? Well, I hope you did. I definitely learned stuff in preparing this for you. And part of that was like this idea of like, what if we could automate your marketing follow-up and client communication in just 15 minutes a day? Because I know we're all busy, right? We don't have like all this time. Well, as I created all this content, I was feeding the machine, right? I created a 21-day workbook. So it's true workbook format where you'll like print it off, fill it out, and it will help guide you down a path of really implementing this AI technology into your business without getting overwhelmed, without needing to be tech savvy. And in order for you to receive this free gift, you only have to do one thing. Stacy is going to get the recording of this into our Facebook group. And all you have to do is comment on what was your biggest takeaway from this training, and I will personally DM you that workbook. It's a PDF. It's all in PDF format. You can download it and you can print it off, and it will guide you over the next 21 days. So if you'll commit to 15 minutes a day, I promise you 21 days from now, your knowledge in AI will be mind-blowingly more effective than what it is now. I've looked through this material as solid, and it's just my gift to you for your time and attention today. So with that, I'm going to stop sharing. I got a few minutes left. If anybody has any questions, feel free to unmute yourself. I'll check the chat.
John, I
Awesome.
have a question.
Yes.
And I may have missed it, but I use GPT. I'll go in and have them like rewrite something that I wrote.
Sure.
But um, sometimes when I go in and I type in Chat GPT, you have to pay for it. Some of it you have to pay, some of it's free. And then you're talking about building it up, going to the same one. Do you pay for yours or which one? Because there's different ones you can go to.
I do have a paid one. It's very low amount. It wasn't like anything crazy. I don't know exactly which one I have. I'll have to go back and look at that. But it does allow me to create my own custom GPTs. So I have a custom GPT that I've fed with a ton of documents that's a real estate professional in Bozeman, Montana. And then I have another separate chat GPT that's a real estate recruiter for EXP. So like those are my two different business pillars, right? It's like I'm going out as an agent or as I want to be a real estate professional in Bozeman, or I'm going out and I want to recruit people to EXP. So I've fed those chat GPTs differently to give me looks like Kevin might have the answer to your question. Kevin, do you?
Yeah, you don't have to pay for it if you're just beginning. What I've done actually, I started with, I have like 10 free Gmail accounts and I created 10 Chat GPT and 10 Grok accounts. Okay. So I will never run out of quota. So Elon Musk is not getting a penny from me for now. Okay. So that's number one. Yeah, but and what I've done, I've designated my main business account for specific important tasks and other tertiary accounts I'm just using for whatever, to text an email. I actually have a Russian client right now. I'm Russian. I was born and raised back there. I get a Russian client and I'm typing in English or dictating in English and throwing it into ChatGPT and tell it to, translate in Russian. And then if I don't like something, I will command it in English, give it prompt in English, and it will, translate in Russian. And I can tell it, okay, cut it down by 25% in word count, cut it down by 50%, go and elaborate on what escrow is. For a Russian mind that is used to paying in cash, escrow means nothing, so you have to go and explain it to them. So what I'm saying is don't pay for anything unless you absolutely have to. So that's kind of my take on it.
Kevin, obviously you're utilizing AI in some meaningful ways. You spent the time with us here today. What was your biggest takeaway today?
Well, biggest takeaway for me is how much time you save. For example, this Zoom, I'm recording it right now. Fathom will transcribe it for me. Also will summarize it for me. And again, Fathom is free. I am a cheap Russian. I am not paying for nothing. Okay. So, but then I can take the transcript and throw it into my free Chat GPT, and it's going to give me a detailed analysis of everything. By the way, playing with all of these, that's really what it's all about. And I realized that Grok has the highest quota. With Grok versus ChatGPT, I can do like 20, 30 prompts, and only then it will cut me off. Okay.
Wow.
So I played with Grok, I played with Gemini, with Perplexity, with Meta AI, with Copilot by Microsoft, by Claude, that Chinese thing, DeepSeek, and Grok appears to have the most quota for free. So,
One of
you
the
can.
things I'm looking at doing next is so you can get the pendant. Do you have the pendant?
What's that?
So you can get this pendant like a necklace that you wear and it records everything and
Oh,
it
and then when you fall, I've fallen and I cannot get up.
yeah. No, you don't have to push the button. It'll just come for you. But what that's gonna do is like, so I'm on these calls all day doing three-way calls for recruiting. There's so many things that I say a million times over and over and over again, but for the person listening, it's the first time. But what the pendant will do is it will take in all the content that it's hearing and it will continue to build depth into my chat GPT to where I can then say, okay, give me like the top 25 FAQs, give me the top 3 value add bullet points that I continually regurgitate over and over again in my own voice, by the way. And then it's gonna allow you to like put that out there and create content. So the future is a year from now, I might be able to have autoresponders take people on a 3-way journey without me even being there. Like that's a very real possibility. But you've got to have the content fed into it over time to be able to do that. I'm
Yeah.
excited.
John?
It's me
And another
fired up.
takeaway that I kind of got from it is, if you think of it, that already exists. If it doesn't exist yet, it will exist. For example, this Fathom that I'm using, I just discovered the other day, I can record on multiple computers on the same account at the same time. So right now it's recording this. Then I have another Zoom room open on my other PC. And on the same account, using the same Zoom account, I can record up to 3, maybe even 10 sessions at the same time on different computers. I didn't know that. Sometimes you have overlapping Zooms, okay? And sometimes you just, do crazy stuff like that. So if you can think of it, just go and tweak it, go and play with it, and you'll be shocked what's out there.
John?
Yes, sir.
Hey, you were talking about getting information back from you if we do. I missed that part. It cut off on my computer. You wanted
Yeah,
us to do
so
something?
so a shameless plug for getting engagement on our Game Changers Facebook channel. We're gonna post the recording there. If you'll just go there to the recording and comment your biggest takeaway from today's session, I will personally DM you that workbook.
That's fair enough. The other thing is, everybody's plugging everybody now. Everybody's trying to sell something. I mean, 2 years ago, everything was free with AI, and I started like 3 years ago. And I'm kind of where you're talking about. I haven't expanded enough. What is the best path to get better with AI? Do you following you? Would you say, and I respect that if you say that, because it's getting
I
so
wouldn't.
crazy,
Yeah, I mean, like I always want to show up for my people, and I always think that the teacher learns the most. So like I literally created today's presentation using AI, and like I would just ask that exact question, Doug, to AI. I would go in and say, "Hey, this is the desired outcome that I'm looking for." And it will tell you. It will literally create a plan for you, and then it will give you additional suggestions on how to further add depth or interest to that plan. So I would just let it take you on a journey. Just go put that in the, I mean, I think ChatGPT is a better AI master than I am, right? So go ask
Mm.
it the same thing you were just asking me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Makes a lot of sense. And also, I saw Lars responded. I think it's $20 to upgrade. And my son, who's a tech, he said that it gives you what you're the
Yeah, so
person
I
before me. It
upgraded.
gives you more. Gives you more
Yeah, I
depth
upgraded
or
because
something.
I was like going down in the weeds on something and I like hit my prompt limit, but I was like in it, right? And I was like, I need more. And they got me and I was like, all right, I'll give them $20 a month or whatever it is. And
Yeah,
now I can do unlimited prompts, which is super helpful.
yeah. That I think that's the answer for it. So, hey,
I,
thanks a lot, John. It was really great today. Really
oh,
was. I
thank you so
appreciate
much.
it.
I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
All right, guys. Well, awesome. Glad you were all here and I appreciate it.
Thank you, John.
Thanks, John. It was
Did it very
awesome.
much.
Appreciate
Thank you,
all this
sir.
here.
All
Thank
right, we'll
you.
see you guys later.
All right, have a blessed day, man.
You
Y'all.
too.